Hey everyone, I am Randall with Night Owl Game Cafe. I day 2'd with Clowns. I bubbled out of top 64. Top 64 record was 11-4. I went 11-4. Tiebreakers didn't have it in the cards for me. I got 68th, so I had a top 64 record, top 64 performance with Clowns at Nats. But just wasn't on the cards. Tiebreakers, somebody dropped, and yeah, it happens. I did get day 2, and I do want to show off the deck. There's a couple things I might talk about that I might want to change at some point. But I'm excited to show off the list. Let's get down to it. I'm here with...
Jake Morton, past high-stopping clown player.
Yep, still notoriously the clown guy. And to everyone's detriment, I am now the chaos clown guy. We are doing Rolad Clowns today. The point of the deck is that every card in here has to be ashed. And there's so many ashes you can resolve in a turn. Fun fact, it's 1. And the Rolad stuff plays through a couple hand traps, eats all of the interaction, and then you full combo with Clowns, draw enough cards to be able to just return on your Rolad, and you're good to go. So first and foremost, we will do our Rolad suite, which is a little controversial at 41 cards, but it is 2 Black Chaos, 3 Griffo. I did 1 Skull. 1 Skull was enough. You don't need another one. 2 Ritual. I cited one of them out most of the day. 2 is really good because the entire deck should win every time you win the dice roll. And this, for consistency's sake, can be like pitch to flares. You run super polys, so you weren't really caring about bricking too much on them. These are glued to my hand all day. There's some fun ways to turn them on, I'll get to in a little bit. And 2 Mind Shuffle. The 2 Mind Shuffle did matter. This is the base package. My 41st card was the hats. I did main hat. One of the biggest reasons was this deck has no omnis, and I was expecting a lot of board breakers. One of my win cons genuinely just came from having the set of 3. I chaosed for the shuffle, normal to the Griffo, and then I activated effect, and when they tried to stop it, I magical hats the ogre. So this saved me most of the time. If you only open, one of the things is you will only open Rolad stuff pretty frequently. This means that you play normal Rolad. The deck is just regular Ritual Light and Darkness if you only open this because you have enough hand traps to back it up. Clown stuff is pretty straightforward. The 1 Operatics, only 2 Bien. You have a lot of card draw, a lot of interaction. One of the key points of the deck is that Bien turns on Mind Shuffle. If they stop your Mind Shuffle abilities and you can stick one of these, you can get back into full rollout on their turn. 1 Soiree. 3 Flare. I forgot to do the 2 records over here for Mind Shuffle. 3 and 3. One of the things I did a lot was Malabrism after summoning back Archfiend. A lot of the time, if you return and they stop the return off of like a bell, you don't really care anymore about this card. So you can just shuffle it back with the Archfiend, summon Archfiend, summon the Flare and the Synchro for Meteor. I link this into Link Kribo. You make Nerva using this as material, so you save your normal summon. So if they stop your Rolad stuff because they bell the return, you still have full combo without normal summoning, so you can still normal summon a full clown through it. I did that all day as well. The 2 Raggeds. I've seen people run the one that searches for a ritual instead. I like this a lot more. The pre-prep or preparation of rites adds back the spell card for the ritual, but you don't care about that as much. The entire point of the Rolad stuff is to eat all the interaction, and oh no, they didn't have any interaction. You just full combo and try to win. Non-engine is really important in this deck. 3 of these, 100%. Loved these. I played against KT at one point, and I just super polyed him 4 times in 2 games. I resolved it. Demok, or the Modok, return this back to hand. Decide it again, and then if you run out of targets, you can just shuffle them back with the fusion and keep doing this over and over, so that goes pretty hard. I did run the 2 Droll. It came up exactly 1 time did I get to do the hand rip against Mitsu. In case you don't know, I'll get into the hand rip whenever we get into the extra deck. 2 Bell, Bells were all-stars against the mirror match. This deck should win the Rolad mirror because you are playing the same deck they are. The only difference is you're drawing twice as many cards. I don't know if you know this, but if you have more cards in your hand, you typically win if you do that every single time. 2 ashes. I am on 2 of like all of them. You draw so many cards in this deck. It's not even funny. You draw so many cards that you see, if you're on 3 of them, you will see duplicates. You do not want duplicate hand traps. You want just a critical mass of them. 2 crown. I'm going to be testing out Harmonias over them. They were really, really good into branded, which you should win already because you're on Rolad, and really good into KT. The reason I ran this is for KT. If KT gets hit, these are easily just going to become another hand trap. I'll figure out which one later. I'm looking at Harmonia because it turns on the rest of the deck. And then the MVP, aside from Super Poly, Ogres. Ogres were insane this weekend. Every single deck I played against had an Ogre target. Just being able to hit the Mind Shuffle when they go to activate, paying cost. Being able to hit KT's Field Spell. His card just came up so much. They went normal. I've seen normal summon any KT. Ogre on the normal summon if you have any backup. One of the fun things you can do in this deck is if you Ogre or Crown the normal summon, that's part of why this was in here. They go summon, you crown it or Ogre the normal summon, so it's not in play. They go Rotary in hand, you Chaos Magical Hats, stopping the Rotary from getting the second normal summon, and then they just lose. They don't have anything in play. They can't beat it. That is the main deck, again at 41.
What other non-engine would you consider?
The other non-engine I'm considering is Harmonia.
If say people can't afford a Harmonia,
if you can't afford Harmonia, or if you can't afford Crowns, Fallen on the Virtuous is fine. And if you don't have to have the synchro for it, if you do, it's crazy, but it's more recursion as well. So if you just ran like 2 and then an Albion, you're fine. So budget options if for this deck is because the most expensive card is Black Chaos right now, which is 50s. So the whole deck can come out to under 150 if you swap these out for Fallen of Virtuouses, which is or Nib. Nib is fine because you can bounce the Nib back, which is really cool. It's just hard because right now a lot of stuff is making a negate before their 5th summon. Nib's not bad because it also turns on your rollout stuff and then you can Nib again, which is really cool, and then your deck doesn't care about it. Another fun thing about the deck is I think it pushes a little bit less than the Azamina build, but it loses to a lot less. You do lose to a critical mass of hand traps, which the Azamina build can sometimes push through, but this deck does not care about Fua. This deck does not care about Perulia. I got hit with both of them all weekend, drew them maybe 1 card, and if I push super hard, 2 at most, and that's if I just felt like I could go through it. If you have a way to tribute on your turn as a quick effect, you can force them to, you can hand rip them under their own Fua, which is kind of cute. Another thing for the reason to play this deck over the Azamina build, in my opinion, is because blowout cards exist in this format. I know we'll get into it in a little bit, but one of my side cards, just blowouts exist, and people are running Shifter, people are running DDG. I got shifted and then I just full cloud comboed under it, and they were really upset because I thought they had me. This deck also lets you run crazy stuff like this. Like you can DDG, you can't DDG in regular Rolad because you don't have like any way to really get through or get your stuff back. In this deck, you just do this and then play regular clowns under it and you're fine. And this hurts way more than it hurts you.
Did you miss the Clown Trap at all? New Face or the new one?
I love New Face. I want a New Face so badly. But I came to a really sad realization, and it's that I didn't get to play it. Just there wasn't enough room. The 42 would have mattered too much. The only deck's like kind of weakness sometimes is you have the ability to brick in here. I didn't brick very often, and some of my friends have been testing it and bricked a little bit more than I did. This card is your New Face. This is your recursion. Put your stuff back. One of the things you can do with this for Rollout in general, target their Rollout card, 2 of your clown stuff. You don't have to put your Rollout stuff back. So you can use this to eat opponent stuff. Extra, and I'll get into this here in a second. Links, Link Kribo, And Dristy. This card is insane. Most of my normal combos will involve me going through Flare, tributing Flare off for this, tributing over both, and then at the end of my combo or during the turn, summon Flare back, and then just sack the Flare off for this, and you just have a non-targeting Book of Moon. A lot of the time, like when they will activate White Albaz summon, effect Chainlink 1, effect Chainlink 2, sack to put this into play. Their effect resolves first, they put one into play, and then Chainlink 1, non-target book. Either Ecclesia goes face down, or they sack the Ecclesia for their whatever they want to search for, and you book whatever they get off of it. So you can do that as well. That came up so many times. This card, one of the MVPs of the deck, I tried to cycle through it a bunch, draws extra cards. When you tribute it to neg their attack, you get the extra card draw off of the continuous spell, which is crazy because people were letting me do that for free the entire time. And if they put this back in my grave, I can do this on my turn, and it lets me book stuff and outboards. 2 is good. You don't need 3. I don't like 1. One of my OTKs involved me having one of these in graveyard already. One of my OTKs involved me using this to clear the board, because this is how you push, is by just wiping the stuff. The only time the effects to clear came back was pushing. And this card will come up here in a little bit as well as another fun option. I ran 3 Fiends. A lot of people told me I was wrong. Those people both might be right and wrong at the same time, depending on what you're wanting to do. It turns out booking something is really good if you can make your stuff big enough to do double piercing. But in order to do double piercing, you have to have more than one of these in play to do the OTK through 0 defense. A lot of branded is 0 defense. If you put an Alibur face down on your turn, and then you summon 2 of these and 1 of these off of like Matinee, and then just have a tribute summon monster that is over 8k double piercing. You can just kill people. Like, people are like, how are you outing Dogma? A, this shuffles back the Ecclesia's engrave. B, you don't. You just kill the 0 defense monster and them. That happens against Rolad too. If they summon anything else, you can keep double piercing over stuff until they die. And then the rest were targets. I did run this. It came up a couple times. 2 Bien Vicasso makes this if you can't push for lethal. I found I didn't have an issue pushing for lethal. It won me a game, but this is probably going to be a slot I might look at for Harmonia targets. And then all Super Poly targets. Oh, and Nerva. Nerva just goes crazy though. This is a mandatory for the deck. There's 1,000 videos on why this card is necessary. Mixu came up against Elf Note. Elf Note feels like it's the hardest matchup. You have to have either critical massive hand traps or go first. And they can interact. They're really good into Rolad apparently, but they have a mediocre time into just the Clowncrew stuff, so it fixes one of your bad matchups when you run both. This card just wrecked house. I'm debating if I need both of these. This came up against against the Elf Note players more. This came up against Branded more, but this deck is just a interaction check. If they interact with your continuous spell or your mind shuffle, and then you stick this, and they've already used Fallen on the Virtuous, they just kind of lose. You bait out a lot of interaction. Like, it takes a lot to have to get through this deck. The reason it's so good is they have to just keep. It's a lot of must answers. The entire deck is must answers, and then a couple different things that just kind of push, just engine. And if they don't answer one of them, oh no, like a must answer went through, they lose. Theseus after the ban list, if KT gets hit, these 2 are coming out for like 2 synchro targets, and then we'll look at these and evaluate them later. Otherwise, this, and the 3rd Fiend is another option to cut, so we'd be going to 5, trying Harmonia, which I'm going to be doing after this.
Do you feel like you needed Dristy?
Yes. I liked the option. You draw so many cards that it does lead you into the combo, but I did like exactly one of them. I do not want to run 2. You have enough recursion in this deck with specifically this card that you don't need another one, and it only comes up if you're FTKing people. The FTK, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is inter-sponsor opponent shuffling or searching their deck. So I did this one of my matches against Mitsu, because I lost almost all of my dice rolls. I think out of the 15 rounds, I think I won maybe 6 total dice rolls, 5 or 6 total dice rolls. I lost most of my dice rolls all day, and as a deck that just auto wins if you go first and they don't interact enough, I had to play through so much more than I was expecting. But one of the fun parts of the deck, a lot of the time you'll end with stuff like this. So if you have both of these, or any of your Bien Vicasso effects to tribute, so on and so forth, any way to tribute, and a droll, your opponent goes activate Chainlink 1, a card to search. You Chainlink 2, I mean, like at the start of my turn, I normally search just to have one in hand. So like at their main phase, or their draw step typically, because you can't droll during the rest of it, I'll just draw step for this. This is engrave. So they go to main phase 1, activate any card that searches. So I am gonna play, in their case, it was normal summon Habakuri. They went normal summon Habakuri, Chainlink 1. And I went Chainlink 2, activate Malbrism. Or Chainlink 2, activate Soiree, Chainlink 3, Malbrism. Malbrism resolves, summoning Meteor and Justy. Your Soiree resolves, tributing 1 or 2 depending, for Bien Vicasso. Chainlink, or they resolve their cards. They just added to hand. We're in resolution window for droll. Your opponent cannot respond to tribute summons. So Chainlink 1, or Chainlink 1 here, Chainlink 2 here. So you are, I believe it's, I'm trying to remember how the exact resolution works for it. Long story short, if you chain for Chainlink 3, Droll and Lockbird, they shuffle their hand away. I still haven't learned which order I'm supposed to stack these. For the Meteor effect, I do know that if you chain block it with Bien Vicasso, they can't ash this, which is really cute.
So it works like Branded Lost, where it's supposed to be Chainlink 1 has to be the tribute summon.
Yeah.
So they can actually respond if you do the...
the other way?
No, they can do it. If you use the trap in response to anything,
yeah.
The Chainlink 1 was no longer a tribute summon.
So it's because it's this first and this is second. Oh, they're Chainlink 1, yeah.
Yeah, they're Chainlink 1.
Okay,
so.
yeah. Okay, so I used this as the, I just resolved it where I had this as Chainlink 1 and this Chainlink 2 just so they didn't ash it. But yeah, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 to negate. Shuffle their hand away. It's an FTK. But yeah, that is the general premise of the deck. I'm working on sideboard patterns. Sideboard patterns that were really good. These were insane. This is what I did. That's the stuff that you should do too. This was crazy against Doomsday. This was crazy against Alphino. This was crazy against KT. This is also crazy against half those decks and Rolad. So it turns out, if you draw half your deck, you see them a lot. One of the things that I did was DD Ground and Draw Step. Still in Draw Step. Pitch Griffo, because it doesn't have to hit Graveyard. Pitch Griffo to set the Chaos in the same slot, so I had just 6 back row that turn instead of 5, which went crazy. This card also won me a game against Power Patron FTK. They tried to FTK me, and I fooed them because I side 5 Charmies for going second. So this is my first package, this is my second package. I fooed them, and I just drew into Ash, they negated Ash. I belled, they negated belled. I ogred them. They tried to burn me for 2k. I pitched Griffo to not take the 2k, and they no longer had a way to OTK me. And they ended the turn with SP, and I had 13 cards in hand. Bad and bad. These cards were insane in theory. The problem was I'm maining 3 Super Poly, and I found they clashed, and that is on me. Never saw these ever at all. These could have been literally anything. I think what they're gonna be is a called by and a talents, and just make my going first better. You auto win going first as long as you don't get hit by a bunch of hand traps, and I think guaranteeing that you win every single game you go first just wins you enough games on its own to make you only have to fight through one. If you statistically win all your games going first, and I played through most of the stuff when I was going second. Like, I won a lot of games going second. It shouldn't matter as much. The deck just gasses through a lot as well. Like, you play through so much with your super polys and stuff like that as well. I've thought about lava golems in these slots because your rollout stuff doesn't use its normal summon, and you can force tribute summons anyway. I've thought about sphere modes. These would be fine as sphere modes. I almost would rather these be sphere modes.
What about Santa Claus? Do you feel like you were missing the Santa Claus is like probably the staple side deck right now?
I don't think there was a game that Santa Claus would have outed something that 3 main deck super polys didn't. And I think the problem that I was running into with Santa Claus, like, I don't have an issue with removing a single thing. This deck can play through 1 to 2 interruptions with 0 problem going second most of the time. If they have 1 or 2 negates, and you held this for like remix or something, you kind of just activate here, sending here, and you're just like, cool. Like, you have to burn most of your interaction on these 2 cards alone, and then you have 3 or 4 other cards to play the game with. That's the general premise of it. I'm going to test with Harmonia a little bit more. But final shout outs on my end. Shout out my wife for supporting me enough to let me be able to come up here and hang out with the boys. Shout out the boys for not getting mad at me for having to ask permission to my wife first. Shout out Jacob. Do you have any shout outs?
Night Owl Game Cafe.
Yes, sir. Represent.
Nope. Besides that, nope.
All right. With that being said, one or both of us will probably see you soon with another top from this deck. It's insane. If you like Azamina Rolad, try this deck. If you like clowns and winning, try this deck. With that being said, again, my name is Randall with the Night Owl Game Cafe, and we will see you soon.